You're listening to the Watchers Network on WRFP-LP, your local Wisconsin neighborhood watch. We watch the skies so you don't have to. Tonight we're speaking with Thomas White, local UFO hunter, and he's got a new book all about what the government is hiding up in Alaska. Thomas, are you with us?
Yep, I'm right here.
So Thomas, yep, I can hear you just fine. So, Thomas, your new book titled The Pandora Project. Tell me, what's it all about?
Well, you see, it's about how the U.S. government and the Canadian government have been using the U.S. technology of hyperspace travel to get rid of certain dissidents and outspoken pundits, if you will, so that they can keep the narrative of human centricity in the universe. You see, they've been salvaging technology from the alien spacecraft for decades now, and they've finally gotten to the point where they can traverse different dimensional planes within our own reality to get to other places. But so far they're only using it to get rid of, protesters and hippies and so on.
Fascinating. And you've spoken to people on the inside, as it were?
Yeah, you might say that. I've got a few people with their ears to the walls, you might say.
I suppose you can't name your sources for safety reasons, right?
No, I wouldn't want to blow the whistle on them. They're in intense personal danger even handing this information out to me.
Well, this is a good segue into my second question for you tonight. Tom, can I call you Tom?
Oh yeah, how about it?
Tell me a bit about yourself, Tom. Did you grow up in Eau Claire?
No, you see, I moved up here around 10 years old, and that's when I started seeing the UFOs. Now, of course, I'd see them every now and then down in Texas, but I got up here, and it's like the colder temperatures really attract the UFOs. It's like, I think it has something to do with their own physiology. The aliens prefer the cold, so they like it in the northern regions and the South Pole.
Are they cold-blooded, perhaps?
I think it's more akin that they're extremely warm-blooded, to the point where they need the cold as a sort of homeostasis to keep their bodies from overheating.
Fascinating. So you're telling me that this could have something to do with aliens?
Oh, absolutely has something to do with aliens.
Why would the government do something like this, though?
Well, what do you mean, something like this?
Why would they go to such lengths to get rid of dissidents? Why wouldn't they just kill these people? Why send them to, as you're saying, other parts of reality, dimensions?
Well, you see, it all falls upon the main problem of every murder is the body. And you see with the case like Leonard Peltier, that all sorts of conspiracies sprung up out of that man's death. Now, Leonard Peltier went up on a mountain with a blue glow and came back down with an alien presence infecting his mind. That's the real story, I tell you what. And the FBI put him down to keep that alien consciousness from spread into the rest of the world. And, of course, the hippie liberals went and said, oh, no, the FBI shot him because Leonard Peltier was speaking out about Wounded Knee or some such shit. And that's,
Is this the same reason why they killed JFK?
I'd wager, but I think JFK was actually starting to work with the aliens to try and bring out the NWO, the New World Order.
Oh yeah, we've been hearing about that for some time, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. You gotta worry about that. You gotta keep an eye out.
Here's a question for you, Tom. Wouldn't we know if there were other, what did you call them, other realities? Is this like another Earth situation?
Yes and no. You see, reality as we know it may seem like it's comprised of a three-dimensional space. But that is simply the way that our brains perceive reality. In fact, there are multiple layers of existence that we are technically experiencing at all times, and those layers are what separate us from the alternate universes where time, events, and so on have played out entirely different. Now, there are subspaces between our dimension and the next one, and that's where the alien vessels traverse, is right between that liminal space between this reality and the next one, because there's no friction, there's no resistance, there's, no physics to worry about out there in the dimensional void.
But how are they able to reach these places? They are places, right?
I mean, not in the conventional sense, because the 3-dimensional or 4 to 5 to 17-dimensional existence of reality doesn't exist out there, except inside the confines of their spacecraft. So what it has to do is ultimately finding the gaps between the dimensional folds. They're all over the place. You just have to know where to look.
Fascinating.
The aliens, I think that it's not just that they found, that's where it starts. You find the gaps, and then you learn to make the gaps. Sort of like you can glue something together or you can sew it together. Wait, that's not a good analogy.
So would it be possible, Tom, in your professional opinion, for someone to, say, slip through these cracks, so to speak?
I think it's entirely likely, in fact. It might not be something you could survive, because, as I said, the nature of reality breaks down in that liminal space, but depending on whether you slip cleanly from one dimension into the other, or you spend a little time lingering in that void, yeah, I think an organism could safely pass from one dimension to the other, but that's presuming the other dimension is even safe in the first place.
So this mystery organization, or shadow government, does it have a name? Do you know?
I just call him the Man.
Just the Man, huh? Well, that's an appropriate name, I think.
Yeah. The man doesn't want you to know that this is not the only reality out there, and you could shift into a better reality too.
What do you mean by that? I thought you said that they weren't other versions of our Earth, or what have you, that you'd read in some kind of, I don't know.
It's a complicated process, you see. It's a complicated structure of the universe, because our universe has folds and layers in and of itself, alright? And that's still our universe. But then, after you get past a certain layer of those folds, you're then in the liminal void between the dimensions. And that technically doesn't take up any, quote, physical space. But then, a little bit to the left or right, up, down, etc., you can shift into another dimension. And that is an alternate timeline.
Like the Twilight Zone, or something like that.
Yep, kind of like Marty McFly.
Ooh, it's a good movie.
Did you know Doc Brown's related to a Nazi?
I did not, actually.
Yeah.
Who knew we would get some film trivia?
Yep.
Well, Tom, I'd love to chat with you more, but we're going to have to go to a commercial break pretty soon. Where can our listeners find your new book?
Now, you can find my books at any of the occult bookstores, but I've also managed to secure a deal with Borders Books. Now, it is a limited supply, but if you go to any Borders bookstore in the nation, you will be able to pick up my book for a very nominal price. It took a lot of finagling, but it's hard for them to turn down a six-figure deal just to put a book on.
Well, did you face any pushback against the content of the book?
Oh yeah, Borders didn't want to carry it at all because the FBI was pressuring them.
Fantastic. Wow, really?
Yeah. But I learned from the master, the Trumpster, and I talked them down, and they agreed to do it.
Wow.
I mean, who's going to argue with money, you know?
Money talks, as they say. Well, thank you for your time tonight, Tom. I hope to have you back on the show soon.
You take care and don't get sucked up by any saucers.
Tell me, are you in any danger yourself?
Oh, extremely.
You take care of yourself and watch out for the men in black. You've been listening to the Watchers Network on WRFPLP 101.9 FM, your local Wisconsin neighborhood watch. We watch the skies, so you don't have to. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.